People in medieval ages seem to be very imaginative in terms of torture.
You wanna get away, you better get in line. Won't go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter.
Previously on Andiamo in Campania, we took the ferry from Naples to Forio on Ischia Island, where we enjoy a great sunset and a superb dinner. And then on day 2, we went to Negombo Park, where we enjoyed thermal waters. We finished with a mud treatment. However, that was not the end of day 2. After leaving Negombo Park, we took a bus and we arrived at Ischia Ponte to see the Aragonese Castle. The view of the castle from Ischia Ponte is one of the most iconic views in Ischia and is featured in the film The Talented Mr Ripley. In the clip, you can see Matt Damon's character Tom Ripley arriving at the fictional town of Montebello for the first time. The castle stands imposingly on a volcanic rocky islet that connects to Ischia via a causeway. The castle was originally built by Hiero I of Syracuse in 474 BC. It then changed hands so many times throughout the history. First the Romans, the Visigoths, the Arabs, the Normans, the Angevins, and just to name a few. In 1301, the main mountain of Ischia, Epomeo, erupted, and that accelerated the development of the settlements on the islet, as Ischia took refuge on this small island for the safety it offered. In 1441, Alfonso V of Aragon rebuilt the old castle and connected the rock to the island with a stone bridge instead of the prior wood bridge, and fortified the walls in order to defend the inhabitants against the raids of pirates. In 1823, Ferdinand, the King of Naples, expelled the inhabitants of the castle and transformed the castle into a prison for lifers. In 1851, the castle became a political prison for those who opposed the Bourbons. The castle is accessed through a tunnel with large opening which lets the light through. Along the tunnel there is a small chapel consecrated to Saint Giovanni Giuseppe della Croce, who is the patron saint of the island. At the Posto di Guardia there is a torture museum. In 1860, with the arrival of Garibaldi in Naples, the political prison was suppressed and Ischia became part of the Kingdom of Italy. There are many torture instruments on display here. The names alone of some of them are enough to make most people squirm. The head crusher, eye spoon, and testicle squashing trestle.
People in medieval ages seem to be very imaginative in terms of torture.
After the torture museum, we continue to walk up the castle. Near the top of the castle is Cathedral of the Assunta. It's a splendid ruin with a magnificent view of Ischia Ponte.
So finally got to the top and the visit starts. This is the terrace of Immacolata. Next we have the Chiesa del Immacolata. Looks like it's now an art gallery. So in front is the church of San Pietro al Panatiello. Here we have a millstone for wine making.
So this is the Bourbon prison, which I mentioned earlier was used as a political prison.
So this is the olive garden, and there is an impressive view from up here, looking back to the port. And as we go across, we can see the island of Procida, and even further away, Naples. Which we just saw from up there is the Chiesa della Madonna della Libera. We've got some beautiful fresco here. Okay, this is probably the final terrace. The sun is partially out again, and this beautiful view, see again.
So that concludes our visit to the Aragon Castle. Quick transport info here. Bus number 7 is what you need to get from Ischia Port to here and back. Right, it's time for dinner, and we're gonna eat at this restaurant called Au Soleil Meal. The dinner itself was quite unmemorable, but there's a great view here. In the Talented Mr Ripley movie, this was the beach where Tom Ripley contrived his first meeting with Dickie and Marge by passing himself off as an old college pal. After dinner, we strolled back to Ischia Port for our bus to Forio, and that concludes our day 2. On day 3, it's time for a day trip to Procida. We took the bus to Ischia Port, bought our return tickets to Procida.
So just got onto the ferry to Procida for the day trip there. It's quite crowded. We're all wearing masks again.
After half an hour or so of ferry, we arrived at Procida. This year, Procida is the Italian capital of culture. From the ferry port, we walk up the hill to the other side of the island, and then up again towards the medieval citadel called the Terra Murata. From there, we see the highlights of Procida, the view over Marina di Corricella. The sweeping, romantic vista across a glistening bay with fishing boats bobbling in the harbour and the multicolored fishermen houses, together with the lemon-coloured Santa Maria delle Grazie church, makes a trip to Procida worthwhile. At the highest point of Terra Murata, you'll find a square with traditional houses and the 16th century Abbey of St. Michele Arcangelo. The Abbey of St. Michele Arcangelo is a Benedictine foundation dating back to the 11th century and is one of the most prestigious and richest churches in southern Italy. Admission is free, but you have to join the guided tour, which is only in Italian, but they do hand out some translation leaflets. After the Abbey, you can go outside and see the fortifications at Terra Murata, with Naples in the background. On a clear day like this, you can even see Mount Vesuvius. Procida is also the location where they shot Il Postino, which won a few Oscars. You can see posters like this all over the island, proclaiming Procida's cinematic heritage. Next, we walk down to Palazzo d'Avalos, built in 1563 and turned into a prison in the 1800s. When we visited it, it was used as an art gallery.
So this used to be a prison as well, I believe. So see the prison cell. This room is Jan Faber, the catacombs of the Dead Street Dogs. It's made of Murano glass, skeleton of dogs, and stainless steel. this one looks like a torture room.
Afterwards, we walk down to the beautiful fishing village of Corricella. In the Talented Mr Ripley movie, you can see Jude Law's character Dickie riding his scooter and furtively meeting up with his secret girlfriend. We then had lunch at one of the harbourfront's restaurants, where there was a great view of the fortifications and the fishing village. Finally, it's time to walk back to the ferry pier.
So for the return ferry to Ischia, it's gonna be this tragetta ferry from Carama. So after half an hour delay, finally get on the ferry back to Ischia.
If you have been enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. After 10 minutes or so, we could see the island of the Aragon Castle in Ischia already. We'll finish the episode here as the ferry got back to Ischia. Thank you for watching this video. Next time, we'll be spending our last day on Ischia before taking the ferry back to Naples, where we'll have a magnificent sunset in Santa Lucia. We'll also visit the historic center of Forcella. See you next time.